Hi guys, and welcome to today's show of Youth Iowa Bassin. What I want to talk on today is a technique that a lot of people like, and a technique that I like, or love actually, is a technique of frogging. Frogging it's a great way to catch big bass in the slop and everything, as everyone knows. There are millions and millions of videos out there of people just hammering big bass on a frog, and there's a lot of reasons why. In my opinion, the reason why fish like a frog is just because it's a profile, that can mimic a lot of things, not just a frog. It can mimic a bluegill, it can mimic a shad, depending on your color that you choose, or just a normal frog. Birds, rats, whatever. I mean, bass eat everything. But it also can get in places a lot of lures can't. This frog can skip very well. It can come through a lot of heavy cover and grass and moss and duckweed and everything. What I like about a frog is that you can basically work it. It's a lure that you can cover a lot of water with, and it's also a lure that you can catch a lot of fish on. Say like I'm going down a 100-yard grass line and it's all matted up and I'm throwing a frog, and I'm 30 yards into this grass line and I catch one. I can repeatedly throw it at that place and now work it like an actual lure that you can't throw in there, and just hammer them on this thing. Where do I like to fish these things? A lot of people limit a frog's capabilities to just grass. It's where it excels. But I'm telling you, a frog is a great lure around dock, especially if you're throwing a bluegill colored one or a shad colored one. I mean, skipping a frog up underneath docks is, I've probably caught the majority of my big fish skipping a frog around heavy cover, not just grass. They work around trees. They actually, on a lot of rocky banks, they actually work on rocks. On a lot of rocky banks, a lot of people, shy away from them because during the summer months, rocks start to grow, algae and what we call snot grass, or just moss on the rocks and everything. And people have a hard time fishing it because it's always getting on their lures. A frog can combat that, and it is a great lure on rocks. A frog on rocks can actually produce probably more bigger strikes than anything. I mean, it's a great lure on rocks, especially early in the morning. How I fish a frog. Frogging is different with a lot of people when it comes to retrieves. Me, for covering water, I just cast it as far as I can into that mat and just walk it around, or just pop it through all that mat, through all the grass and everything. When I get more into open water, that's when I actually start, walking a frog, fishing it like a normal spook bait or a popper, especially a popping frog. But I don't get too uppity about it. If they won't react to that walking action, I can just go back to slowly working it instead of erratic and fast. Because that erratic and fast is just what I use to cover water. But say a fish misses this, and fish will miss this frog. It's the name of the game. That's when a lot of times I just work it slowly behind it so that fish can come back and get it if he wants to. Probably the most important thing with frogs that a lot of people struggle with is hook sets. I've faced them. If you fish frogs, you probably faced it. It can be super tough to get a hook in a frog, but now with everything, being so keyed in, now with products being so keyed in on frogging, now we got braid, now we got, heavy action rods, now we got high speed reels that can still wrench fish out of heavy cover. Yeah, I mean, all those scenes are great, but you still need to have proper hook sets. I mean, yeah, you gotta have the right equipment, but no matter what I'm fishing a frog on, when I get a bite, I always reel down to make sure he's there. If my frog moves when I'm reeling, he didn't get it. And that's when I can start going back to my cadence, because when a lot of people see a strike and a fish misses it, they set the hook and the frog's going flying back. The frog's going to go flying back at them. But yeah, just reel down on them, make sure that they have it, and always give it a second or two for them to get it. Dean Rojas, probably the Frog King, will tell you all the time, he always gives it a second or two when they bite it. And then once you feel it and you're confident that the fish has it, it is a meat hook set. You do not lean into them like a crankbait or a jerkbait. You set the hook so hard when you get a bite on this, because you're basically jigging or flipping and pitching on top. You have to set the hook extremely hard to get to make that body collapse in that fish's mouth, and to penetrate a thick hook through the mouth, especially a big one. But yeah, I mean, hit them hard as you can. But the pausing is the most important thing. You can set the hook as hard as you want, but if he doesn't have it, it's not going to be worth anything. And then once you set the hook at him, just grind them back in. I mean, the only problem with frog fishing that I have a problem with is that once you set the hook on them, they're kind of in grass and you can't really feel a fight or anything. It's all about the bite, really. But it is a great way how to experience fun fishing, and it's also a great way how to catch big bass. Colors. Everyone varies on colors. There's two types of people when it comes to colors on a frog. There's the type of people that swear by only white or black, and there's people that will swear by like specific colors for everything. I'm one of those people that has specific colors for everything, because I have personal favorites when it comes to colors of a frog. Yeah, I mean, I always throw a white or a black frog, but actually my all-time favorite color for frog is this colored copper frog from Strike King, KVD Sexy Frog. That's just what they call it. There's a lot of companies that make the same color. Some people call it sunburn. Just a lot of different colors, but this color has the brown and the tan and a little bit of red on the belly and this yellow stripe. That's my all-time favorite color right there. And it's just what I believe why this thing works so well is that it mimics a lot of frogs. It just mimics a lot of frogs. So not all frogs are high-vis yellow like a lot of people think. A lot of frogs are dark, and in low light or like during the day. I mean, because this color of frog will catch them 12 hours out of the day. I mean, they can catch it 24 hours out of the day, I should say. But that one's my favorite of all time. I've probably caught more fish on that color frog than any other one. Now this one, this color called Anaconda by Strike King, and this color is probably my favorite bluegill mimicker. I don't know what it is, but when I skip this thing around docks, I mean, they absolutely hammer this thing. As you can see, the legs are short on that. I always cut my legs short when I'm trying to walk a frog. And I vary depending on how well I walk a frog. When you walk a frog, you can literally make it spin in the exact same spot. I mean, it's probably the only lure that will not actually go forward when you actually walk it. It can spin a 360 or 180 or whatever. You can have it whatever you want it to do. But yeah, I mean, skipping around boat docks and walking it in open water, Anaconda is a great color. A lot of people like white. I do like white. Bright sunny days, White is good. It's just an old standby what everyone says. That's what I normally start out with. And of course, in cloudy days or dark days, black is a great color. Now, I have experimented with this, and when they won't touch a white frog in bright bluebird days, do not be afraid to throw a black frog. I mean, I've seen where there's a mild difference where they'll maybe sniff at this one and where they actually destroy a black one, and vice versa with colors and cloudy conditions. Another lure that I really like, especially in duckweed, is standard tropical yellow or tree frog or something like that, or just has that normal green. That's always a standby. Wading in a frog, a lot of people don't pay attention to that, but say you're fishing cheese mats. I mean, cheese mats are super thick, and a frog has a really tough time getting down into it, and the fish have a really hard time, grabbing a frog. And that's when I actually take either a lead weight, like a small little split shot or something like that, or like a little glass bead rattle, and I stuff it in there to weight it more. I'm not trying to get this frog to sink or to make it cast far, but when it sits in the water in a cheese mat, it will sink farther into the cheese mat, and it helps the fish get a hold of it a lot better. Or you could go with a lot bigger frog. I know Spro makes like a King Daddy size, like a Spro King Daddy 90 size, I think it is. I'm not exactly sure. And it's just a bigger frog, and that's a great frog to throw in super heavy stuff, just because a fish can find it. The fish can find it a lot easier. Not just because we're trying to catch super big fish. It's just it sits in cheese mats a lot easier. But I don't like to weight my frogs if I don't have to. It just makes it a little bit harder to get a hook in them sometimes. But say you're in duckweed or thin moss or something, a frog straight out of the package will catch them. My setup for frogging, 7 foot to 7'3", medium heavy to heavy action rod is a great choice. I like the 7 foot heavy action rod in open water. It's a great. If you're on a budget, I get a 7 foot heavy, or just a 7 foot medium heavy that has a lot of backbone. You don't want a ton of tip with this, because with braid and everything and a frog, braid will launch with a frog. So you don't need a ton of tip to load up and cast. It is nice if you do, but I like my rod to be like 80% backbone. I mean, this is Navi Garcia Veritas, the original series, 7'3" medium heavy. This is a great one. I also have a 7 foot 4" heavy action rod from Duckett's in the Terex series. That one's actually made by Dean Rojas, and that one's made to actually fish in super heavy cover. But I mean, a 7'3" medium heavy is probably the best all-around frog rod. A super high-speed reel, like a 7'3" to 1 or an 8 to 1. This is a 13 fishing concept KP. This isn't the exact reel I use, because this isn't a 5'3" to 1 gear ratio. I just had to tie this one up for this video. But a high-speed reel is critical, so you can reel it back in and make a nice long cast, and reel up slack and get a good hook in them. 50 to 65 pound test braid is a must when you are frogging. No monofilament, no fluorocarbon. You have so many headaches with that. I mean, braid is the only way to go. But that's my setup. Have fun with frogging. It can produce some of the greatest memories from fishing ever, and it's a great lure to how to catch your personal best. I hope these tips help. Like the page, subscribe if you want to, and otherwise, have a good day.